Hello, learners! Welcome to another quick edition of our EFL lesson series. But before that, let me sip my coffee. So, I've been sharing with you lessons about the tenses, and just like I promised, I want to complete the 12 tenses of the English language. All right, but this time, since we've talked one perfect tense, let's have another perfect tense, all right, which is past perfect. All right, so where are my things? Stay put. It looks like one of my markers is hanging for its dear life. Anyway, we're gonna talk about rather past perfect. Okay, so when we talk about tenses, it's usually casual to actually start with what form to use. That is had plus pp, short for past participle form of the verb, okay, which is, in layman's term, they say verb three, okay, amongst the three principal parts of the verb. Okay. In high school, probably you're gonna learn that there are three principal parts of the verb, which are actually known as the base form, past form, and the past participle form. But they are not the only forms where the verbs conjugate. Okay, but they are the first three forms, or the three forms that you have to memorize how irregular verbs conjugate. Okay. Well, anyway, so much of that. So how do we use past perfect? When to use it exactly? So remember this, okay? Past perfect tense is used to express an action that happened before another thing happened, okay? So that means it involves two actions, okay? The first action is where you're going to use the past perfect, and the second action is where you're going to use the past simple tense. Okay, let's discuss in detail how to use it perfectly and how to use it in several sentences. Okay, just like the past continuous tense, it require, okay, not all, but past perfect construction of sentences with past perfect require temporal conjunctions. Okay, and although you can actually construct a sentence without these temporal conjunctions, but it's best to, and then it's usually made, or sentences are with past perfect are always with temporal conjunctions. So what are these temporal conjunctions? Okay, if you've learned about the temporal conjunctions during our past continuous tense lesson, then somehow you will have an idea of some of them, or maybe one or two of them. All right, well, let's start with the word after and before. After first, okay? So you probably know what the word after means, okay, and what before means. Okay, so let's start with after. Okay, I'm gonna use first example with the word after. Okay, after I had eaten lunch, comma, can you still see it? He came. Okay, all right, so now which one is the first action? Okay, the first action, of course, is this one, the eating. Okay, and the second action is coming. All right, so first, this one happened first before this thing happened. All right, okay, so first action requires the past perfect, the second action requires the simple past. Okay, simple past tense. Okay, and of course, when you have the word after, the temporal conjunction after, the clause with it should be accompanied with the first action. Okay, this cannot be the first action. Okay, this means this is the second action. All right, And let's have another temporal conjunction before. Okay, before. Okay, before he went out, he had eaten breakfast. Okay, so which one is the first action? The first action, of course, is had eaten breakfast, meaning this happened first before going out happened. Okay, so in basic sense, in context, of course, you have to eat breakfast first before going out, or maybe you go out and had breakfast maybe outside. It wasn't mentioned where actually anyway, so it really depends on the context. Okay, so well, anyway, with the temporal conjunction before, it must be accompanied by the second action, which means that it has to have the simple past form, and the other clause must be understood to be the first action, which means it has the past perfect form. Okay? All right. Now let's proceed with another temporal conjunction. As soon as, okay? As soon as we had finished homework, okay, the postman arrived. Okay, so basically as soon as has similar property with after, meaning that the clause that accompanies it should be with the first action, had finished rather, should be in the past perfect form. Okay, so and the second action should be in the second clause. Okay, so this one happened first and this one happened next. Okay, next let's have another example of not example but another temporal conjunction to use. Okay. Okay. I have to use the red with temporal conjunction. Okay. We hadn't disturbed him until, okay, I have to change the color to red, until, can you still see it? Until he finished his lesson. Okay, so which one happened first? Okay, of course this one didn't happen first. You might feel it's weird or strange because it is in a negative form. Okay, this one means this is what happened first, meaning the not disturbing him, happened first before, the finishing of his lesson happened next. Okay, and this is used with the temporal conjunction until. Now, if you've noticed in my examples, just like I've told you, if you make sentence with temporal conjunctions, where if the temporal conjunction is in the first part of your sentence, then you automatically have a clause. All right, so that's why in the first example you have a comma rather. So that's why in here, after he had eaten lunch, comma, okay, and as soon as he had finished homework, comma, there's a comma there. Can you see? Yeah. And yeah, so the other two examples, sorry, also here it's also comma, before he went out, comma. All right, now another point. You can actually interchange how to write your sentence, whether you can make, or you can mention first the first action, or you can mention first the second action. It actually doesn't matter. Okay, now the point is, if you are going to construct sentences in order of occurrence, meaning you mention the first action first, and you mention the second action second on the second part, meaning that's in order of occurrence. So your use of past perfect is actually optional. Okay, meaning you may use the past perfect, or you may not. So if you use the past perfect, then you are emphasizing that this is the first action. So if you don't want to use the past perfect, that's okay, because you made a sentence in such a way that they are in order of occurrence. Okay, so meaning you can use both simple past form in the sentences. So like in this first example, so the past perfect is actually optional here. So you can just say, after I ate lunch, he came, because this is the first action and this is the second action. Okay, whereas okay, so actually all of the sentences I constructed, they are all in order of occurrence actually. So meaning the past perfect is optional. So if I'm going to exchange the position, all right, like in this example, if I put this one there, for example, he came after I had eaten lunch, then that requires the use of past perfect, because your second part is with the past perfect. Did you understand? Is it clear? I hope so. So just take a look at all the examples, and if you want to actually master, or if you did not understand some of my points, then you can always replay. There's always a replay button where you can watch it again. Anyway, if you have any questions, you can comment below, and please like and share and subscribe to my channel. So that's it. We got this. Thank you very much.